Welcome back to my channel JMPR Cloud Tech, where you'll be learning Salesforce from a learner. That's me, Preetham Angya. In the previous videos, we have covered all these items from Object Manager. In today's video, let us look at restriction rules, triggers, and finally validation rules. In Salesforce, the question of who sees what is answered with the use of organization-wide defaults, sharing rules, role hierarchy, manual sharing, apex sharing, etc. And all these methods have been used in increasing visibility of records. None of them restrict access. Restriction rules are something new that became available in Winter 22 release. With this, we can now restrict who sees what. Let's say Astro says he wants his chefs to have access to menu items that only they are marked to view. Let's go to sharing settings to see what is the current visibility setting in our org. Here we can see that menu is public read-write, which means anyone who has access to this org can access all menu records. We can restrict access to these parent records with sharing rules. But if you want to restrict the child records, that is menu item, we cannot restrict as it is controlled by parent. That's the earlier case. Since Winter 22 release, we can restrict child record access using the restriction rules. We will learn org-wide defaults, sharing rules, etc. in future videos. For now, let's create a restriction rule on our menu item object. Navigate to menu item object, restriction rules, and click on create new rule. Let's name it private access and mark it as is active. User criteria can be set as user profile ID equals the profile ID of our chef profile. This is right now a hard coding. Hope Salesforce will change it in future. Next, we can choose the record criteria to define the restriction. To define the restriction, or rather what records are the chefs allowed to see, let's set it up as the chef ID equals current user ID. Now let us compare a system admin view and a chef view. Right side is what a system admin sees and left side is what a chef sees. You can observe that system admin sees all the records, whereas a chef can see only the menu items where they are marked as a chef. That's the new restriction rules for you. More control over who sees what. But right now, there are many limitations for restriction rule. Do check out this link before planning to implement them. Now let's say Astro comes and says, I want an error message to be thrown when a chef tries to update the start time and end time of a menu. A chef is not supposed to change those values when menu status is static. We can use validation rules to solve this. Navigate to Menu Object, Validation Rule, and click on New. Let the rule name be Chef cannot edit start time and end time. Below, we have a formula editor where we can add our conditions. It supports all these functions displayed on the right-hand side. And here we have an insert field to help us select the API name of a field we want to use in the formula. For our condition of chefs cannot edit start time and end time, let us add a if condition, which has a logical test, a value if true and value if false. So our logical test will be profile name is equal to chef profile. For AND condition, we would need a logical function. Second condition will be checking if status is static. Since status is a pick list, we need to add a function called as ispickval to compare. Next condition will be the field start time is changed. So if all these conditions are satisfied, it should throw error message, else no error. We can check the syntax from here. If you do some mistake here, like missing a bracket like this, it will show a syntax error. Now since we have two fields and either of them should not be changed, let's add or condition for both of them like this. Once done, we have to add the message that will be displayed to the user. We will write a user-friendly message here. For our scenario, the error location will be top of a page as it involves two fields. If we had written two separate validation rules, one for each field, then we could have shown the error on the field here by choosing that particular field. Save it and validation will start applying. Let us log in as a chef to see how it behaves. Open a menu record that has status as static and edit the start time and save. That's our message shown, blocking the chef to edit start time and end time. If a chef edits any other menu where status is not static, then they can successfully save the record. If we try to edit a static menu as a system admin, then we can see that the rule will not be applied. This was a low-code, no-code or declarative approach to solve the requirement. What if we had to write code for the same? That's when we create triggers. Triggers are very powerful, and as much as possible, we have to solve every requirement using a low-code, no-code approach. But for very complex problems, we will not be able to solve using a declarative tool, and that's when we start to code. Learning to write triggers will be a separate series that I will start in the future. Do subscribe to follow me. For now, let me quickly show an example to solve the same above problem by writing a trigger. Just a note, this trigger does not follow all trigger best practices, writing this as a quick example. Now that our trigger is in place, let us deactivate the validation rule and retest as a chef. There you go, same problem, one declarative solution and one code-based solution. As a Salesforce admin, developer, or consultant, you should always explore all possible solutions and try to go the declarative way as much as possible. Our client Astro is very happy with our solutions using restriction rules, triggers, and validation rules. But as usual, he has many new requirements. We shall solve them in my future videos. Please do like, share, and comment below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of my new videos.